Ladies and gentlemen, I think this might be some of the biggest and certainly the best news that we've had in quite some time inside Watcher of Realms, so we're going to delve into it today. I'm going to throw some screenshots up here on the screen for you guys to check out as well. So we're just going to start with the announcement that was made inside the Discord, which you can actually find inside the game as well if you come to like the event section here. So the Pioneer vote for Classic Hero Revamp. So as you can see, there's 8 different heroes who have been put up here to be voted for to get a revamp applied to them. And Moonton is also asking for community input on potential revamp ideas. So here we go. This is going to be the original post here. So we fully understand the players' anticipation for classic hero upgrades and related adjustment plans are steadily progressing. Good news. Elder's adjustment has been confirmed. This is just the beginning, and more classic hero revamps are also in the works. Elder is a super weak legendary lord as things are currently, so getting any sort of a buff to him is going to be fantastic. Today, the classic hero revamp Pioneers vote officially kicks off. As the grand final of this celebration, the vote will gather everyone's voices and focus on the classic heroes most deserving of a revamp. Subsequent adjustments will also proceed based on this. So here's the nominees. We have Xena, Gon, Eunomia, Cade, Kriya, Gwendolyn, Valeria, and Arrogance. Now, if you're an Arrogance fan like me, you're going to be happy with this announcement because it's almost guaranteed at this point that Arrogance is going to be the hero getting buffed first, or the hero getting reworked first, because they have a vote. They have 1,751 votes with 5 days left at the point or at the time of recording this, and so far Arrogance has 620 votes, which is 35%. An overwhelming majority have voted for Arrogance so far. The next closest is Valeria, who has 15% of the votes. Now, it says how to vote, gives you the instructions. Head to the Classic Revamp Pioneer call, share your reasons for support, and win rewards. For example, and then it says if Gwendolyn's finishing move could target shields, she'll definitely make a comeback. After the event, we'll randomly select 10 active participants to receive 100 diamonds. High-quality suggestions are more likely to be incorporated into the final plan. So, the way I read this is Moonton wants to buff an older hero inside the game. They have plans to buff essentially all of these heroes, right? Where it says subsequent adjustments will proceed based on this. But they want to figure out who the community is most excited to have buffed, which appears to be Arrogance. Now, I voted for Arrogance myself. I definitely think that's the right choice, and we'll talk about that a little bit further here. Now, additionally, it seems like one of two things. So either, first of all, Moonton is just being very disingenuous with this, and they're saying, hey, you know, let's just go ahead and let these people think they have an input. Or what's more than likely happening is they're saying, hey, let's actually have the community have some input here on what sort of a buff or rework we're supposed to do, because we don't quite have it figured out yet. So I think it's very, very cool that they've opened this up for the community feedback. Now, the voting period for this is from August 13th to August 20th. So then within 7 business days after the celebration ends, the highest voted hero will be revealed. So go ahead, make sure to hop into their Discord already if you haven't, and vote that way. If you click on the banner in the game, it's going to go ahead and show you. It's going to take you directly to the Discord anyway, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Now, in terms of the second part of this, let's go ahead and talk about my suggestions. So let's go ahead and take a look at Arrogance super quick as he stands currently. So he has a talent, Demon Bow, inflicts burning on the target. Demon Blades in normal stance, 30% chance to increase his attack speed by 40, stacks up to 3 times for 10 seconds. Pretty terrible ultimate, in all honesty, or talent rather. Basic attack deals 115% damage. It'd be 120 with Demon Blades to one enemy within 1 tile if none are in range. Deals single target damage with Demon Blades to enemies further away, which includes Airborne. Infernal Feast. For every 1 enemy killed while in Berserker stance, receives 1 attack speed bonus stacks from the talent. When the stance ends, deals 180% AoE damage to up to 10 adjacent enemies 2 times. And then finally, the Devil's Dance passive, Demon Bow, Demon Boomerang, 25% chance to attack 2 targets. Demon Blades, 25% chance for double strikes. And then finally, we have the ultimate, which is Hellfire. The hero enters Berserker stance, dealing 360% damage with each attack launched and increasing attack range. Now, he doesn't really increase his attack range. That's a bit misleading. What actually happens is his attack range fills out. So you can see this is the basic attack range here. It's got like the square in front of him and then 3 squares out in front. That essentially just fills up to be the full 3 tiles in front of him, and then still the tiles beside him. So it's a bit misleading. When attacking any distant target, the hero's weapon transforms into a demon boomerang. The boomerang deals AoE damage equal to 30% of the damage taken by the main target to their nearby enemies. Additionally, it inflicts burning on all enemies damaged. And then finally, probably one of the most disappointing parts of his kit, obtain Lust to unlock the following bonus effect. Increases attack by 15% during the effect of Hellfire. Right? Now, Arrogance and Lust used to be kind of the wombo combo for Watcher of Realms. If you've been playing the game for quite some time, you know that. Before we had all of this, like, you know, A5 Kagiri business and all this A5 Sun Wukong business, Arrogance and Lust were the combination if you were trying to kill bosses, right? So, like, they were the meta for clan boss for so long, for guild boss, right? They were the meta off the start for APOC 2 as well. And I have an A5 Arrogance who gets outperformed every single time in every single piece of content by an A3 Kagiri, right? That is ridiculous. Now, you could argue that, oh, you know, Kagiri's an exclusive hero, right? Sure. But I've pulled 6 copies of Arrogance. 6 copies. There's not, like, if we're thinking about a balanced game, there's no general reason why a top-tier hero at A5 should be outperformed by another top-tier hero at A3, because that means that that particular hero who's at A3 is going to be exponentially stronger at A5, which is very much the case, which is proven by the fact that you don't see Arrogance in your top clan boss teams anymore. You don't see him in the top APOC teams. You don't see him anywhere inside the meta, right? Like, he still has very, very good ratings because he is still a very decent hero, but the problem is that this hero, who is a boss-killing hero who can be pulled from the normal summoning pool, is so outclassed by exclusive heroes that not everybody's going to have access to, right? Because you could say, oh, well, you know, Sun Wukong's an exclusive, you know, sure, but everybody got him. Good shard management, you're going to get him. And it's very easy to fall into that mindset, but we also have to remember there's going to be people that start the game today. Somebody just signed up to play Watcher of Realms for the first time, right? Just now, somebody else signed up to try it for the first time, but it was an alt account, so they've played it before, right? And in 5 minutes, somebody else is going to be signing up to play the game for the first time as well, and those players are not going to have Sun Wukong. Those players are not going to have Kagiri. They may not be able to pull on the next limited event, setting their account even further behind, which means that we have to make sure that the heroes coming from the regular summoning pool are still competent enough to work inside the game. Now, you're certainly going to be able to do decent damage with this guy still, right? But he just needs a little bit more to be in today's meta. He was released a significantly long time ago. As far as gacha games go, he needs more. So let's go ahead and take a look at my buff suggestions, right? So this is going to be my buff ideas, right? And we'll look at his awakenings real quick here as well. So let's go ahead and look at the A1. When in Berserker stance, each basic attack launched restores 5% HP. This is useless, as I call out. Crit damage plus 15, A2, a weird A2. A3 deals 15% extra damage to targets with burning. A4, rage regen attack plus 2. What are we doing? And A5, when entering Berserker stance, immediately receives some maximum attack speed talent bonus. The first 5 attacks in Berserker stance deal 100% extra damage. This is kind of okay. It is what it is, right? So let's go ahead. I'll throw the screenshot here on the screen, right? Ironic how that works. Arrogance buff ideas. His awakenings are extremely outdated. Let's get some penetration on there. So specifically, I was thinking A4 or even A2 add an 8% penetration bonus, right? A1 is basically useless as well, especially if he's paired with a good healer, right? If you put this guy with a good healer, he doesn't need to be restoring HP because he's getting healed. There's not a single piece of content where you're not using a healer with him where that's going to be the difference. The only place that he may benefit from that is Faction Wars, right? That's it. Or some, you know, Immortal Codex bosses, but they have built-in healing mechanics anyways. A1 could instead be replaced with, during the ultimate, the hero's weapon applies slow and or pushback to the enemy target. If the target is immune, the hero deals 15% extra damage instead. Very simplistic, right? Very simple, a huge buff. You get him A1. He actually now feels like a legendary who is A1. Let's also shake up the bond skill a little bit is the next thing I say. Instead of a 15% increase during the ultimate, let's do something like obtain hero lust to unlock the following effect. Increases attack by 15% during the effect of Hellfire. This effect becomes permanent if hero lust is deployed on the field, right? So a 15% attack increase when he's popping the ultimate is good and whatever, but he's going to need that attack. Like, so think of it this way, right? Let's say, because in this game, the damage numbers are very simple. It's attack minus defense. There's your damage, right? Simple put, right? Simply put. So let's say you're fighting an enemy that has 10,000 HP, or 10,000 defense rather, right? Extremely high number, 10,000 defense. In order to do damage to that enemy, you need 10,001 attack at minimum. Right? Simple. You with me so far? If we have a 15% increase, that means that you could essentially build your Arrogance with 851 attack and still do damage to that enemy with 10,001 defense. Right? If that effect is only in play during the ultimate, it means that when you're not ulting, your hero is still going to have the extra attack anyways to do decent numbers of damage or to be able to damage that enemy effectively. Now, obviously, these numbers are just completely made up, right? It's just an example, right? So if we had a 15% increase of the attack all the time, as long as Lust is deployed on the field, that actually means that the bond skill is a little bit more useful. He's still going to be boosted as well, even if Lust is not deployed. A3, so Awaken 3 should be updated to hero does an extra 30% damage to targets inflicted with burning, as opposed to just a 15% damage boost, right? Double it. That's where we need to be these days. The meta is so incredibly strong with fighter units. We need to make sure that he is on par. And finally, let's bring his talent into the modern era. Demon Bow inflicts burning on the target. Demon Blades in normal stance, each hit has a 10% chance, so I drastically reduced that, to permanently increase the hero's attack speed by 30. This stacks up to 90, right? So a little bit weaker and a little bit of a less chance to do it, but the stack is permanent instead of, having those stacks happen for 10 seconds, right? Like, that's just silly. If Hero Lust is on the team, this effect becomes each hit has a 15% chance to permanently increase the hero's attack speed by 40, stacks up to 120. Now, obviously, you may need to work around the A5 a little bit because he's immediately receiving the maximum attack speed talent bonus. So if they went forward with my suggestion, they'd have to change this to something else, perhaps just like, a bit further attack speed increase or something like that. And then I said all these changes would work together fantastically well to bring Arrogance back into the light as a fantastic DPS, exactly what he should be. Currently, my A5 Arrogance no longer feels special in much content, especially boss-related content. The bond skill is also currently a huge letdown, not really motivating you to run Lust plus Arrogance in tandem once you have other options. In brackets, I put Kigiri and Wukong, right? Those are the options that you run these days. Moonton has given us great update after great update. I'm excited to see what they do. Now, that last part might be a little bit controversial, especially with the anniversary event that just went by and people were a little bit upsetty spaghetti about it, but I do think that in the gacha sphere, Moonton is one of the more generous and more community-driven developers or game creators that we've seen so far, which is fantastic. And like I said in that particular blob of text, my A5 Arrogance does not feel that strong. He's not that impactful for my account. I rarely ever use him. I have very decent gear on him, right? Like, as you can see, I have good stats. I have 21,000 attack, 353, 106, and 243, and he just gets outdone by so many other heroes now, which is a shame. And obviously, we had the skins just released for him recently as well, so I do think that they had plans to release this for quite some time. I would love to see them actually do a bit of an update to Lust as well, his companion, his compadre, but what I really want to see is the combination, like the the bond skill's actually having a bit more of an effect, because his bond skill is just so bad. Like, this is terrible, right? If we want to look at bond skills done right, let's go ahead and take a look at where is he here even? Let's go ahead and take a look at Silas, right? So Silas's bond skill: obtain Vierna to unlock the following effect during the effect of Shadow Cloak. So I believe that's his ultimate. Yes. So his soul sniping deals 100% extra damage. You're just straight up saying, hey, now that I'm bonded, my ultimate's doing double damage. Then we have Arrogance, who's saying, "Oh, I'm bonded. I'm gonna get extra 50% attack." Like, what? Silas was in the game for so much longer than Arrogance, and his bond skill is still insanely better, right? It's obscene how power crept Arrogance has been. Now, don't get me wrong. When Arrogance was released, he was one of the best fighters in the game. But time has not been kind to this gentleman, and if we're going to introduce ridiculously OP heroes that not everybody can get, like our Wukongs, right? Like our Kagiris, right? If we're going to introduce people like, let's go ahead and take a look down here at the bottom, right? So if we're going to introduce people that are broken, like Valara, we need to also make sure at the same time that the older heroes inside the game are not forgotten about. I come from the Raid Shadow Legends sphere, where old heroes rarely ever see buffs, and it definitely fatigues the community when you pull legendary after legendary after legendary that's just simply not that good. So that being said, I would love to hear from you guys down below what you think of this potential rework coming in, and also what you would like to see done as the rework, and then also, and potentially more importantly, let me know down below who you guys would like to see reworked either in the future or instead of Arrogance, if you think Arrogance is perfectly fine. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.